Hello there folks, welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash and I am your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. Now today is something of a multiple product review because throughout my adult life I've enjoyed the pleasures of being a double-edged razor shaver. Gives you the best shave, and let me tell you now folks, if you're sitting at home and you use an electric razor or a cartridge razor, you're missing out on one of life's pleasures. Double-edged razors is where it's at. And part of the experience of shaving with a double-edged razor is having to choose a shaving product, a cream or a soap, with which to build that lather which you need to undertake your shave. Now, over the years, I've used innumerable different shaving creams and soaps, but funnily enough, time and time again, I have found myself being drawn to 4 brands of shaving products, shaving creams which I have here on the table, which I would say are possibly the best in the world. And bizarrely, they all come from a relatively small place. They all come from the St. James's area of London. Now, if you're a regular shaver, you're going to know the brands that I'm about to talk about. But do you know what? Over many times over the years, I've been asked by people, which do I think is the best? Which one of the products, which one of the brand houses makes the best shaving cream? And I've always been rather diplomatic in the past, always saying, you know, it's a bit of an objective viewpoint, isn't it? It depends whether you like the scents or the fragrances. But I've decided to be a bit more definitive in my response today, because over the last couple of weeks, maybe going back over a month ago now, I visited each one of these 4 shaving brand houses in London myself in person, and I purchased their flagship product of shaving cream. All right, it's not shaving soap, this is shaving cream. Brief difference: soaps are hard products, you have to build the lather. Cream, it's a more viscous, a soft product, gives you a lather much more quickly, and for me it's a much more enjoyable experience. So I've bought these 4 shaving products myself at their home locations, and over the last 4 weeks I have been using them intermittently. All right, every other day I've been swapping from this one to this one to this one to this one, using the same razors, the same material and equipment entirely. So it's been very much a test of the products themselves. And I'm going to go through each one of these houses and tell you my assessments before unveiling my winner. Let's start at my beginning, because when I started using a double-edged razor, the brand which I went to for shave cream was Taylor of Old Bond Street. Now, it's one of the most established barbers, and you will find them on Jermyn Street in London. You can go in there, they sell a range of products, shave brushes, foams, soaps, colognes, but you can also get your hair cut in the back as well, or have a shave, because it's a functioning barber store, like many of these. And they make quite a large range of shaving products, but their shave cream, and today I am testing their tobacco leaf shaving cream. This is my second pot of this stuff. I've been using this on and off for the last couple of years since it was released. Now, Taylor's is an established house. As I say, they've been around since the 19th century. I believe they're still in family ownership, and their products are often considered to be the sort of common denominator, you know, the industry standard starting point for shaving creams, because they're quite prolific. You will find them perhaps for sale in far more places than these other products which I'm talking about here today. They hold a bit more of the market share. Now, the tobacco leaf, and I'm not here really to talk about the scents today, it's about the performance of the product itself. But this tobacco leaf product is one of their best, I think, in my opinion. And I have, over the years, tried every single one of the Taylor of Old Bond Street products. This one, although it's called tobacco leaf, doesn't really do it justice. It's more of a sort of, I don't know, there's certainly citrus, there's a bit of bergamot in there. Maybe a hint of leathery tobacco, but certainly it's a glorious fragrance. And when you use this one, you build a quick, speedy, luxuriant lather. It builds to that lather in no time at all when you use a brush and some sort of shaving receptacle, maybe a little bowl or something. And it goes on the skin effortlessly, provides that all-important protective layer between your skin and the razor blade. And when you put it on, it releases those wonderful scents up to your nose. It makes you feel alive first thing in the morning. And when you use the razor, it does a fantastic job of keeping the skin safe. Now, I do a 2-pass shave every single morning of my life. Very rarely ever miss a shave. And Taylor's is a really good little accompaniment. It's a really good, solid performing shaving cream at a price point, okay? So it is the cheapest product which I'm going to talk about today. Taylor's sell their product 150 grams, and it costs £14.95. Now, all of the different brands here use different size tubs, so to make it easier to understand, I have broken it down into price per 100 grams. And Taylor's equates to £9.97 per 100 grams. I think it's a really cracking little product, and I've given it a score, all right? So I'm giving it a score out of 10, taking into account its performance, its value for money, and just really its overall feeling as somebody who's using it to shave. Not taking into account the scent, all right? That's personal preference. I'm not considering that. So for me, Taylor's of Old Bond Street scores 9.5 out of 10. 9.5 out of 10. Nearly a perfect score. Now, the next shave cream I'm going to share with you is Truefitt Hill. This is the last one I purchased actually on a recent trip to London. Popped into the store, and again this is another of those brands which hails from that little exclusive enclave of St James's in London, where you'll find all of these products available. And Truefitt Hill, I think they're the oldest brand here. They've been around since 1805, and they are a barber store as well. You can go into their store in London, and you know they'll give you a haircut as well as sell you every sort of product that you can imagine too. Exactly the same as Taylor's, it's just a different brand. Now, this is their Mayfair shave cream, and this is a lot more zesty, a lot more fragrant in many ways, a little bit of floral in the background, but we're not here to talk about the scent, right? They do all sorts of different fragrances, but how does it perform? Well, you're not going to be surprised if I say it's almost indistinguishable from Taylor of Old Bond Street. It loads onto the brush just as easily. It whips into that luxuriant lather just as easily. And when you apply it to the skin, it gives you that wonderful barrier against the razor blade, and it shaves wonderfully whilst releasing that beautiful scent. It is a very similar shaving experience to Taylor of Old Bond Street. But there is an important difference. Whereas Taylor of Old Bond Street is, if you remember, £9.97 per 100 grams, Truefitt Hill costs 50% more for the same amount. It costs £15.26 per 100 grams, because they sell their tubs in 190 grams, and that costs 29 British pounds. A lot more expensive. I would have to say 50% more expensive, certainly not 50% more performance. So this one literally comes down to whether you prefer the fragrance, because I think the performance is near identical. And for me, that's going to affect the way I score this product. So I am going to score Truefitt Hill at 8.5 out of 10. And the reason I'm making that reduction is quite simply because of the value for money. It is significantly more expensive for me, for no appreciable improvement in performance at all. So worth being aware of that. Now, the next product I'm going to talk about is George Trumper, or Geo Trumper. All right, another St James based barber store, and again, very much like the previous two, their history goes back to 1875, where they've been carrying out barbering works, and then as they've gone on through time, they've introduced their own products, and today you can buy anything from George Trumper, exactly the same as the other two, shave brushes to colognes and everything in between. Today, I've got their Euchris product. Euchris is one of their more famous fragrances, certainly one of my most favourite, because it is so powerful, it is so enigmatic as a fragrance. I have their cologne in this as well, and their skin cream, and it is just, I've described it as being the scent of a Bond villain because it is powerful, it is dark, it is forbearing, it is everything you want from a super masculine fragrance. It's, if you really want to know it, the underlying scent is something to do with blackcurrant. I believe you can get a hint of that in there, but you won't be surprised to hear when you apply this one to the brush and you put it to work, it whips again into a wonderful lather, goes on the skin easily, and when you put that razor to the skin, it does exactly the same job as the other two. It gives a wonderful shave, releasing that beautiful fragrance up to the nostrils. And, I do 2 passes, the second pass, slick, perfect with George Trumper. They make a really good shave product. Almost indistinguishable from the previous 2. Price point. You can see this is where we're coming to a bit of a change here. George Trumper, they sell this product in 200 grams tubs, right? So you get this 150 grams with Taylor's, it's 190 grams with Truefitt, 200 grams with Trumper, right? So they're keeping us on edge here. We can't ever really work out the difference in price unless you actually work it out to 100 grams. And it works out at £10 per 100 grams. Fractionally more expensive than the £9.97 per 100 grams of Taylor's, but considerably cheaper than the £15.26 of Truefitt Hill. So £10 100 grams, really great shave. Fabulous product, great scent if that's what you're interested in. But it's value for money, very good. As a consequence, my score for George Trumper is an identical score to Taylor's, 9.5, 9.5 out of 10. Great product, great price point. Now, the 4th one on my table is the most expensive one, and this comes from D.R. Harris. Now, D.R. Harris is a little bit different to these 3 here. Still on in St James's, just round the corner from Jermyn Street, cross the street from Truefitt Hill, but they start out life as an apothecary. They are a chemist's store rather than a barber's. In fact, they still hold the royal warrant to the monarch to this day. So if the king needs a prescription filled, he goes to D.R. Harris. And this product is called 29. It's named after their address because their store is at 29 St James's Street. This is called 29. And when you open this one up, you get a much more floral fragrance which hits you in the nose. There's lots of rose and geranium. It's quite cheerful, quite a natural smelling product, but very different to the others, which are a little more masculine. And if anything, right, my only observation with D.R. Harris, I actually bought this from their store, 29 St James's Street, and they're a little more snooty, the staff in there. They kept me waiting for ages before they served me. And when I asked a few questions about the product, there was no attempt to be helpful in any way by finding out, I asked them some questions about, what composition was, where it was made, stuff like that. A counter staff knew nothing, yet remained rather uppity about the way they spoke to me. So it's good stuff. You won't be surprised. Here we go again. Same luxuriant lather, builds easily on the brush, applies easily to the skin, and when you shave it off and apply it again, slick, beautiful, wonderful job. Exactly the same job as the forebears here on the table. Difference here is the price point, because D.R. Harris is £23 for 100 grams, which actually works out at £15.33 per 100 grams. It's the most expensive on the table by, let's have a look, 7 pence, I believe, or so, per 100 grams. So it's a more expensive, 50% more expensive than their cheaper cousins of George Trumper and Taylor of Old Bond Street, but with no appreciable improvement in performance. Now, I'm not saying this after a one-off observation of trying these once. I have been using these products in some cases for years. I mean, you can see, if you can, inside my George Trumper one, there's virtually nothing left. Because I've been using these products intermittently for years. I've been a customer of each of these brands for many years. D.R. Harris, 8.5 out of 10. For the same reason why I marked down Truefitt Hill, their price point is steep compared to the same performance level for the other 2 products here on the table. So what's my observation, my conclusion? Well, basically, I would say the performance of these 4 products on the table is identical. If you actually said to me, each one of these products was made in the same factory and all they've done is put them in a different pot, I would believe you, because such is the indistinguishable nature of their quality and their performance. The only difference is the price point. And my winners here, and it's a joint winner, is George Trumper and Taylor of Old Bond Street. They also offer a wider range to a larger degree of the other 2 as well. Taylor's particularly, they've got a huge range. George Trumper, having Eucharist in their collection, bit of a trump card. Excuse the pun. But they are, for the price point, very, very much my winners, because, you know, at under £10 per 100 grams, you can buy quite a few more of these than these for a similar amount of money. So, there we go. I have finally got to the bottom of my own question to myself, which of these is the best? They're all pretty much the same, but if it's down to your wallet, you've got to choose Trumper or Taylor's. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, click the subscribe button. If you'd like to support the channel, you can leave me a comment, you can drop me a question to my email, you can buy me a coffee, or you can even become a patron and benefit from the additional video content and dialogue which I have going with my patrons, and you'll find the link to that in the show notes below. So, until the next time, take care, shave well, and I'll see you again very soon.